For the longest time, we had no idea on whether or not the Big Ten was going to actually play football. We had no idea. They were originally going to play, then they decided, you know what, we're done. We don't want to risk any COVID stuff. We're done. We're out. And then they see the success of the Big Ten, or no, not the Big Ten. They see the success of the ACC, the SEC. They see the success that all these conferences have had. They're like, you know what? We're going to opt back in. And in my original video, I skipped the Big Ten. I was like, well, they're not going to play. Let's just not worry about them. But it turns out that they are going to play with an 8-game regular season schedule. I'm pretty sure. Let's take an example. My team, Michigan State. I think they play everyone from their division. Yes, Rutgers, Michigan, Maryland. They play everyone from their division, and I think 2 other games, if I'm not mistaken. That's, I think, how it goes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. You play 6 division. You play the other 6 teams in your division, and then 2 from the other division. So for this case, it would be Northwestern and Iowa. And Michigan State would have to play from the other division. So that's how that's going to work. One thing that really bugs me is that the teams that Ohio State got added from the other division were Illinois and Nebraska. That is very irritating that the best team got added, the probably 2 of the worst teams. But, you know, let's not worry about that. What we're going to do is we're going to predict each team's, record, and we're going to see who's going to end up winning the conference with this neat little conference championship game thing I made here. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. Let's start with the Big Ten West, because I think it's the lesser of the 2 divisions. There are 4 teams that I think have a chance to win the division: Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and Purdue. Purdue, I think, is the biggest sink or swim team there could be, and we're going to start with them. Their quarterback, I'm pretty sure O'Connell's going to be the starter. I'm not 100% sure. Purdue fans, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But there's one guy that's gonna he could possibly carry the team, and that is Rondell Moore. This guy has absolute burners. Did you watch him against Ohio State a few years ago? This guy can absolutely fly. My friend a few years ago said he might win the Heisman, and that's not even an understatement. He might be the best player in the Big Ten. He might be. I'm not saying that that's 100% set in stone. Their defense, little suspect. I don't know about them, but literally Rondell Moore single-handedly won that Ohio State game 2 years ago, and he definitely could carry them to a few wins if need be. Let's look at their schedule. Home against Iowa. I think it's going to be a loss. I think Iowa's run defense and just their defense all around, they're going to shut them down. I think that's going to be a loss. Illinois is a win. At Wisconsin is a loss. I don't see them coming away with a win there. The fact that they have to play Wisconsin and Minnesota on the road, you'd like to get one of those 2 at home, but they get both of them on the road. So I think we're going to go loss, win. At IU, I think it's going to be a loss. So what do we have? 1-0, 1-1, or no, 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 2-3, 3-3, 4-3, 4-4 for Purdue. I mean, they very well could win. I feel like all these games they have a chance to win, but it'll be tough for them. I think 4-4 from Purdue. Let's take a look at Iowa. The Hawkeyes, TEU. Yes, they are TEU. That is, they produce the best tight ends. You guys ever hear of George Kittle? Yeah, I know you have. I'm not really sure who their quarterback's going to be. Ooh, they got some young guys. So it's probably going to be either Petrus or Kapsiak. I don't really know who's going to be the running back there. Ivory Kelly Martin is a really good running back, 5'11", but he's got some speed with him. They got, what's that one really good wide receiver's name? I forget. I think he may have graduated. This guy, Emir Smith-Marset. He's a good receiver, I'll tell you that. They got all those good tight ends. One of these guys is going to be really good. Their offensive line is always one of the best of their country, and their defense usually shows up when it needs to. So they're definitely a team that's just going to run the ball, down your throat and win games that way. Let's see. At Purdue, I think that is a win. I already went over that. Northwestern should be a win. Michigan State at home should be a win. Minnesota on the road. They beat Minnesota last year at Kinnick Stadium. However, I think this year that's going to be a loss. I don't see them come away with a win at Minnesota. That's going to be a tough game for them. And I think Minnesota's going to be on a revenge tour this year after they lost last year, knocked them out of the Big Ten title game. Well, it was really Wisconsin who knocked them out of the Big Ten title game. But if they would have won that game, you guys know what I'm saying. Penn State at Penn, that's going to be a tough game. I don't know, man. That's going to be really tough. I think those are two rough games back-to-back that they have. So I think they're going to move. Nebraska will be a win. At Illinois should be a win. And then home against Wisconsin. What is the FPI? Ooh, FPI is giving Wisconsin a ton. I'm going to take an upset this one. Iowa has that big upset every year without fail. That's going to be the game. Home against Wisconsin. It is so hard to win at Kinnick Stadium. They're going to beat Wisconsin. Like it. So we've got 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-2, 6-2 for the Hawkeyes. I think that's what we can reasonably expect for them. They're a really good team. I think that's what they should be able to get done. Let's look at the aforementioned Wisconsin. I don't know about them. They what's it called? They lost Jonathan Taylor, and I'm not a big believer in Jack Cohn, their quarterback. I'm not a buyer in him. But let's see what they got on their schedule. They always have a really good defense, and their O-line's usually really good, so it might not matter who's at running back, but I'm not a big believer in Jack Cohn. I mean, he reminds me a lot of like Jake Fromm from Georgia. I'm not a big believer in him. I hope he proves me wrong, but I'm not a big believer. Home against Illinois, that is a win. At Nebraska, that is a win. Home against Purdue, that is a win. On the road at the Big House. Here's a big question. How many people are they going to let in the Big House? 25%? Probably, I don't know. They could allow up to like maybe 40,000 and still be social distance. I don't know. Depends. I think that's going to be a loss. I don't see them winning at the Big House. Let's see. On the road against Northwestern, that's going to be a win. Minnesota. This game is going to decide the division. What does the FPI have? They're giving it big to Wisconsin. You see, I am not a big believer in Wisconsin this year. I'm just not. And I am a big believer in the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I think that's going to be a win for Minnesota and a loss for Wisconsin. We're going to talk more about Minnesota next. And then IU's going to be, I think they can win that game. And then on the road against Iowa, we already said that is a loss. So what do we got? 6-2 for Wisconsin. I think that's pretty reasonable, if you ask me. Now let's look at the aforementioned Minnesota. Now they kind of got the short end of the stick when it came to scheduling. They got Michigan from the other division, and then who else did they get from that division? Hold on. They got Michigan and Maryland. So Maryland, that's an easy win right there. But they got rough with Michigan. The battle for the Little Brown Jug in Week 1. This is going to be a really good game. The FPI gives a slight advantage to Michigan. This is one of, if not the oldest rivalries in college football. And I love the fact that Minnesota gets Michigan at home. PJ Fleck is the best coach in the entirety of the Big Ten. He's going to have his boys prepared for this game at home. They're going to get a win on Saturday. That's what I feel like. I really think they can get that win. At Maryland is a win. At Illinois is a win. Back-to-back road games. Maybe they slip up in one of those, but I think that should be 2 wins for Minnesota. Iowa. This will be a great game, but at home, Iowa beat them barely at home last year with some shaky. I watched that game. There were some shaky referee calls in that game. I think they win at home against Iowa. They should win at home against Purdue. On the road at Wisconsin. You see, part of the reason I like this matchup is Wisconsin's pass defense showed some holes last year. Let's look at the Minnesota Golden Gophers roster. Their quarterback will be Tanner Morgan. He was absolutely phenomenal last year, passing for 30 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Had 3,000 yards, averaged 10.2 yards per pass. They like to air it out, and he really performed well down the stretch for them. Their running back, Mohammed Ibrahim, he is a stud. He is an absolute bowling ball, and he's 5'10". He has some speed with him, too. I think he's the perfect mix of speed and power. He might be my breakout player of the year. I love this little guy, Mohammed Ibrahim. He's a stud. Watch out for him, but the strength really comes with receivers Chris Ottman-Bell and, more importantly, RASHOD Bateman. This man is an absolute star. He's probably the second best receiver in the Big Ten behind Rondell Moore. He might even be better than Rondell Moore. I'm not sure. Had a 1,000-yard season last year, 11 touchdowns. He shined last year. He originally opted out of the season, but he's opted back in, and he will be playing. I think that he's going to be the main catalyst for this team. Their O-line is always one of the better ones in the Big Ten. The problem might be their defense. They're working in some new people on the defense. Jordan Howden will probably be the leader on said defense. He played pretty well. He had that game-sealing interception against what's their names? Against Penn State. So he's going to be really good. But other than that, I don't really see many. A lot of younger guys. Jamal T will be probably their leader on the defensive line. They're not completely depleted on the defensive line. They also have Isezi Otawamo. He's really good. So they are fixing in some new pieces on defense, but they can air it out with some of the best teams in America. I think they would that game against Wisconsin. And then they have two easy games to end the season, Northwestern and Nebraska. They should win both of those games. Yes, I have the Minnesota Golden Gophers going undefeated and winning the Big Ten West, which means they are our first team to represent in the Big Ten championship game. More on that later. Now, let's go to the East. And since I am a Michigan State, and for the Northwestern, Illinois, and Nebraska, they're not going to be very good this year. I'm just not even going to end up mentioning them. Now, the Big Ten East. They have three teams that I think can win the division. Maybe, I don't know about Indiana. My friend who's a huge Indiana fan said they're going 7-1. I don't know about that. We could take a look at them first. Actually, no, we're not going to look at them first. We're going to look at my Michigan State Spartans first, because I know you guys know I'm a Michigan State fan. You guys are going to ask me how I think they're going to do. Not good. This is going to be the first year of the Mel Tucker era for them. Mike D'Antoni ended up getting pitched out, and they do not have an easy schedule. And the quarterback, Brian Lewerke's gone. They're going to have to rely on Rocky Lombardi as their starting quarterback. He's a junior who's basically never played. I don't know about him. He played like one game where Lewerke was doing pretty bad, and he ended up doing like even worse. We'll have to see about him. Elijah Collins is our running back. He should be pretty good this year. The wide receivers, not many people not very many great receivers at all. Jalen Naylor's pretty good. I will say that. He's fast, but not many great things going for that. Max Rosenthal is a pretty good tight end. Watch out for him. And Matt Dotson and Max Rosenthal are two of the better tight ends in America. I will say that. The defense is always pretty good, but man, their offense just doesn't have the firepower. Their defense is always filled with studs. You know what you're getting with Michigan State. Also, the worst kicker in America, Matt Coughlin. God, he is terrible. But Xavier Henderson's pretty good. But you know what you're getting. Michigan State, just a ton of defense, but their offensive firepower is not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to keep up with some teams. Rutgers, I would hope, is a win. At Michigan's going to be a loss. At Iowa's a loss. Home against Indiana is a loss. On the road against Maryland, that should be a win. Home against Northwestern, that should be a win. Ohio State and Penn State. Bro, if they can win one of those games, I'll be ecstatic. I don't think it's going to happen, though. So 3-5 for Michigan State is what I have them going. I don't think they'll end up making a bowl game. But let's go to Indiana. I've heard some positive things about them. Their roster is filled with some pretty good people from last year. Michael Penix Jr., I've heard this guy is the next Joe Montana from a lot of Indiana fans. He's definitely one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. I do think he will do pretty. I think he'll be fine. Their running back, Stevie Scott, he's from Syracuse. Cool. Stevie Scott. This guy is a really good running back. I have heard of him a little bit. Their wide receivers are okay, but not many household names. Their defenses, I feel like, where they might lack. I don't know really how great their defense is. But you know what? They're going to be a pretty good team. I think they're going to be one of the better ones in the Big Ten East. Well, let's look at the schedule. At Penn or home against Penn State, I think that's going to be a loss. At Rutgers, that'll be a win. Home against Michigan. I don't know about this one. Man, look at that FPI. This is a coin flip game for me. I know a lot of people are just going to say, oh, Michigan's going to win. I like Indiana's chances at home. I really do. People are going to call me a Michigan hater for this. I mean, I do hate Michigan more than probably any other team. But I'm going to take Indiana here. I like their chances at home. The FPI obviously sort of in agreement with me. I don't think Michigan's going to win week one. Michigan's working a lot of new guys into that team. I think Indiana is going to end up winning this game. So I think they get a win there. At Michigan State, that should be a win. At Ohio State, what does the FPI say? That is not good. I'm going to say that's going to be a loss. At Wisconsin, I think will be a loss. I don't think they'll be able to win that game. Home against Purdue, yeah, I think they'll win that game. I think the bucket is going to stay. The old Oaken bucket is for my non-Big Ten people. They play for the old Oaken bucket, and I think they're going to win it for the second year in a row. So what do we got? 0-1, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3, 5-3 for Indiana. That's pretty good for Indiana State. What, 7-5 last year? I think that's pretty reasonable. Next, let's do the aforementioned Michigan. Okay. At Minnesota, we've already gone over that game. That is a loss. But let's take a look more in depth to Michigan's roster. Their starting quarterback is going to be Joe Milton. I don't know about this guy. I haven't really seen hardly anything on him. Man, they've had Shea Patterson for what's felt like forever. Threw one touchdown and one interception last year. That is a little bit concerning. In the games, he actually got to play in, went 3 for 4 against Rutgers, 0 for 2 against us, 0 for 1 against Mill. Okay, so he barely got to play. I don't know about him, man. Yeah, I really don't know about him. He's going to be the guy that either sinks or swims this team. Zach Charbonnet, terrific running back. He is very good. I do know that. As for do they still have Nico Collins? I don't think they do. No, they don't. He's gone. Yeah, not a lot of great receivers I see here. That's going to be a little bit of an issue with an inexperienced quarterback not having many great people to throw to. Nick Eubanks is a pretty good tight end. He's a senior. I think he will definitely be maybe their best pass catcher. We'll see. I don't know. We'll have to see. Their offensive line is always pretty good. As for the defense, don't know much about them. I know Jess Spate. I know he's pretty good. He's a senior. Any other seniors? Let's see. I'm trying to find names I recognize because Adam Shibley. I think I've heard of him before. Yeah, he's pretty good. Joey Vasquez. I think he's supposed to be pretty good. I'm not sure about that though. These guys have probably never played. I don't know much about Michigan's defense. I'm pretty sure they'll probably be about middle of the road for that matter. But I'm not sure how good Milton's going to do this year. You guys should beat Michigan State. If you don't, then that's just sad. At Indiana, we said that's a loss already. The fact that they got those 2 big road games. Home against Wisconsin. I can't remember who I picked to win that game. Did I pick Wisconsin or did I pick... Oh, I can't remember. Did I pick Wisconsin to win that game? I can't remember. I forget what I said earlier in the video. This game can honestly go either way. I think Michigan can win that game. Road against Rutgers, that's going to be a win. Home against Penn State. Yeah, I think that's going to be a loss. Penn State's looking really, really good this year. We're going to get to them later, but they are looking very, very good. Maryland should be a win. And then, the team that owns you, Ohio State. Yeah, they can never beat Ohio State. Well, they've done it once in the last 16 years. I will never take Michigan against Ohio State until they finally win one of those games. That's just something I'm not going to do. Ohio State will come in and win that game. Especially it's on the road, too. Yikes, that might get bad. Now, the 2 best teams of the Big Ten, Ohio State and Penn State. Now, let's look at Penn State first. Let's go to the roster. Their quarterback is Sean Clifford. This guy is the heir to the greatest quarterback of all time, Trace McSorley. He 23 touchdowns with 7 interceptions. He's going to have to improve that a little bit. Completion percentage is only 59%. That could be a little bit better. But he played great down the stretch in some games. I think he's definitely going to be a very fit player to lead this team. As for running back, they have Journey Brown, who is one of the better ones that the Big Ten has to offer. 890 yards last year, averaging 6.9 yards a carry. That'll get it done. 8.9 yards a catch in an 85-yard touchdown run earlier in the season. He is definitely, he's got some burners in the open field. I do like Journey Brown. I think he will be a very good player for them. Wide receiver-wise, who do we recognize? I think that's got to be... I think I remember Cameron... No. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about their wide receivers. Oh, Benjamin Wilson. I think he played quite a bit last year. I think he's pretty good. Or is he? I don't know. I'm not very good with, like, names in college football, but, like, overall. Now, here's the big... Their O-lines generally usually pretty good. Here's the problem. Micah Parsons, their star linebacker, he was supposed to be probably the best that the country had to offer. He was going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I was super high on this guy. He opted out. So that is a huge loss for Penn State's defense. Their defense is actually a very good one. Their defensive unit definitely one of the better. Like, let's look at their points allowed from last year. Let's see, and I know they kept a lot of those same people. They beat Idaho 79-7. Only gave up 10 to Pitt, shut out Maryland, 7 to Purdue, 12 to Iowa, 21 to Michigan, 7 to Michigan State. They only held Ohio State to 20. Yeah, so they 6 to Rutgers. So yeah, their defense is definitely one of the better units. I know, like, you can't really judge them on last year, but I think they're definitely going to be very good. At Indiana, that should be a win for them. Okay, we're going to get to this game. This game, oh boy. Wow. We'll get to that game later. Maryland will be a win. At Nebraska will be a win. Iowa's a win. At Michigan's a win. At Rutgers should be a win. And home against Michigan State, that should be a win. Imagine if Penn State's like undefeated and we spoil their hopes to go to the playoff. Ooh, I'd love that so much. Too bad it's not going to happen. Now, let's talk about Ohio State. Everyone and their mother is taking Ohio State to win the conference. I don't think I'm going to fall for the... I might. We'll see. Their quarterback, the man who apparently runs the fastest 40 on the team, Justin Fields. Man, 67% completion percentage last year, 3,000 yards, 41 touchdowns to 3 picks. He is smart with the ball, does not make silly mistakes, and he is definitely going to be the leader of this team. He can do it with his legs. He can do it with his arm. He can do it all. He's the complete package, and I hope the Bears draft him so badly. God, please, McCaskies, draft him. Draft this guy or Jalen Waddle. One more piece to the offensive puzzle, we'd be such a great team. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, though. They did lose running back J.K. Dobbins to the NFL draft. I don't really know who is going to replace him. Probably DeMarco McCall or Trey Sermon, I would have to guess, or Master T. I know he's pretty good. So we'll have to see about that. They will definitely be downgraded at running back. Chris Olave, their top receiver. This guy is a stud. I definitely like him. 849 yards this year. Olave definitely will be leading the pass-catching unit. Yes, he will. I don't really know who their tight end is. I think it's probably... I have no idea. Their offensive line generally usually gets it done. Their defense lost a huge piece in Chase Young, but their defensive line, it doesn't matter who they have, whether they have a Bosa brother or Chase Young, they're always going to get it done. They're always going to get pressure on the quarterback. That's just what they do over there. That's just what they do. Their secondary is where I have some questions. They lost Jeff Okudah to the NFL draft. I don't really know much about their secondary, and I think they could struggle as a result. They got some young guys out here. Marcus Williamson's a senior, but yeah, I am not really high on there. Kevon Pope, I think this guy's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. But that's going to be the big problem with this team. But other than that and their running game, I'm not sure how great their running game is going to be. One of these guys will probably end up rushing for like 3,000 yards. Let's be honest. So Nebraska's a win. We'll get to this game at the end. Rutgers is a win. Maryland's a win. Indiana's a win. Illinois is a win. Michigan State's a win. And Michigan's a win. Okay, they're going to win all those games easily. This game is going to decide the division. It's on Halloween night, right? I think Ohio State has the better quarterback. I think Penn State has the better running back. Big believer in Journey Brown, I am. Wide receivers, close, but I give it to Ohio State. Defense and linebackers. Linebackers are about even. It would have gone to Penn State if they still had Micah Parsons. The secondary goes to Penn State, but they're so evenly matched in like every single area besides maybe like quarterback. And I mean, man, this is going to be such a great game. Last year, what happened last year when these teams played? Well, can I find the game from last year? Because this is gonna be a lot. So if you look at Ohio State's schedule last year, they blew everyone out. Like let's look at these final scores. We're looking at no. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I need to get this up. Give me a second. Let's look at these final scores. 45-21, 42-0 to a ranked Cincinnati team. They ended up being really good. 51-10, 76-5, 48-7, 34-10, 52-3, 38-7, 73-14, 56-21, 56-27, 34-21, 28-17. That's a lot closer. Who could that have been? How about Penn State? This game. Man, Penn State, they held it close this game. It was only 14-0 at halftime. But I think Penn State took a lead at one point this game. No, they didn't. But they pushed it back. Journey Brown had some great plays later in that game. But yeah, Penn State, they hung in it. They hung in there with Ohio State. And this game was at Columbus. I think Penn State is better this year. And I think Ohio State, they're not a bad team, but they're slightly worse than they were last year. These teams are more evenly matched this year. And the big kicker, the game is at Penn State. It is at Beaver Stadium. I don't care how many. I mean, they're definitely going to allow as many fans as they can. And it's not going to be 120,000 whiteout, but it will be a night game. It will still be a home field atmosphere. You always have more of a home. You always have more of an advantage when you're playing on your home field, and that is why I think Penn State's going to win this game. You heard it here first. I think Penn State's. If they had Micah Parsons, this would be a no-brainer. It's a little bit closer now. I still think they get it done. It's going to be a close game, back and forth, grinding out on defense, back and forth on offense. It is going to be a great game on Halloween night. I think Penn State gets it done. That means I have them finishing undefeated too and making the Big Ten championship game. Let's talk about it. So, allow me to just make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Now let's move my camera up here. So, the Big Ten championship game. Who do we think is going to win? Well, I do know that what happened the last time these teams played. It went to Minnesota. They ended up winning this game. I'm trying to find a spot to put this. We're just going to put that here. Minnesota did end up winning this game the last time that these teams played. I think these teams are also very evenly matched. Both these teams I think are better than they were last year. Minnesota has a lot of those same guys on offense. They're getting a lot more of experience. And they got punched in the mouth last year. They got rocked by Wisconsin. But I think they're a lot better. PJ Fleck and his offensive game plan came to fruition. But Penn State's defense and running game is still going to be what is going to end up carrying them to this point. This is going to be such a close game. It's going to be just a grinded out game, back and forth offensively. But who do I have winning the game? I have Minnesota. Same year, new or new year, same result. I have the Golden Gophers winning the Big Ten title game and going undefeated. You can't tell me PJ Fleck isn't the best coach in maybe America. This guy knows how to get his team ready for a big game. Did it against Penn State last year. He knows the blueprint on how to beat them because he did it already. Well, what are you talking about? I think Minnesota is going to come with a vengeance. Now, we're going to find out week 1 if they're for real or not, because I'm not sure. But I think Minnesota is going to end up winning the title game. I didn't want to be boring. I didn't want to just pick Ohio State. Ohio State's going to run the table. That's what everyone's saying. I think Penn State's going to end up beating them. But just like last year, I think Minnesota's going to get it done. They ended their season on a super high note after beating Auburn in the Outback Bowl. A very good Auburn team, might I add. Auburn, not as good this year, but we'll have to see. But both these teams are getting better. I think they're going to surpass the other good team in the division, that being Wisconsin and Ohio State. But this is how I have the Big Ten shaping up. I know all the Michigan fans have already been down there with the type. I could hear all the Ohio State fans already with the type. But this is how I have it shaking out. And I think if whoever wins the Big Ten, I think will get into the playoff. I think that's just a given fact. I don't see that. I just think whoever wins the Big Ten, they're going to end up going into the title game. But I hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you next time. I'm so excited. I hope you can tell by my jittering camera. Let's go. Big Ten is back. Let me know if I should do a Pac-12 video or not. It's up to you guys.